justice for all.
Great, everyone, welcome to the December 12th Public Safety and Courts meeting. This is our first call to the public. Is there anyone that would like to address this committee? All right, seeing none, we will move into our agenda items. I would entertain a motion to approve the proposal from Bold Planning Mitigation Team in an amount not to exceed $40,600.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Dr. Boggs?
So very briefly, I'd like to introduce Trent Atkins, our new old emergency manager. And so as you remember, we have to create a hazard mitigation plan. It's time for our renewal. We received a grant for around $80,000, and the county has a 25% match. However, that 25% match can be in kind and staff time. So that does leave some additional room in it to hire a consultant for the $40,000 that we'll be getting from the state to actually put the plan together. And with that, I'll turn it over to Trent to talk to you about what this would do and what value it would add.
So the hazard mitigation plan has to be completed every 5 years by the county. The hazard mitigation allows, if you don't have the hazard mitigation plan up to date, federal money can actually be withheld, whether it's grants or post-disaster funding and things like that. So every 5 years we have to update our plan. We're actually 3 years behind on our plan right now, and they've given us a little bit of grace on it. So it'll take roughly about 12 months to complete the plan. There'll be public meetings and things of that nature. Parts of Owasso Township and the city of Owasso actually are a special, unique zone, one of 6 that the state has identified as having a higher or greater risk. So we'll be spending a little bit of time there as well.
Any questions? Yes.
I seem to recall at the Region 5 GLS Genesee Pier Shiawassee meeting, there was a talk about this same sort of thing, and for some reason Shiawassee is not part of the larger group that's doing this. I don't remember all of it. Do you know anything about that? Why it is we go alone and they do something as a group?
I used to. Do you remember?
Yeah. So I was at the Great Lakes Homeland Security meeting. Is that what you're talking about?
This was at a Region 5 meeting of the Tri-County thing. It mostly deals with roads, but they mentioned this, that Lapeer and Genesee are doing something. They mentioned Shiawassee is opted out, and I wondered why.
So we're in Region 1. So Genesee and Lapeer are in a different region. So our hazard mitigation plan, it wouldn't flow. You're supposed to do it based on the region that you're in. So we would have to do it with Clinton, Eaton, Jackson, all those counties. Actually, there are 3 counties in our region that went together. Unfortunately, we didn't jump on board with that, and so the next time that comes around in a couple of years, we'll probably look to do that. It just makes sense.
And this is a plan to handle various environmental
It's
semi-disasters.
social, economic, all hazards. It's a pretty big document. Be happy if sometime if you want. I got a copy of the old one in my office. I'd be happy to share with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Any other questions or?
I would just note that it's a requirement, and the grants from the state will pay for this.
All right, all in favor of moving this on to tomorrow night, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the amendment to the canteen contract for food services for the jail.
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion and support, discussion, presentation.
Just very briefly, due to rising costs of groceries and other things, they have opted to exercise the clause in their contract to increase the price. At maximum, based on this, it will be $12,000. At minimum, I imagine it'll be $8,000.
And that was a 6% increase, which I think with the cost of increasing food, that's a pretty modest increase.
I thought so too.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor of moving this to tomorrow night, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I would entertain a motion to approve the temporary letter of understanding between the Teamsters and Board of Commissioners.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support, Dr. Boggs.
So very briefly, and I'm going to turn it over to Angie. We have had some staffing problems with 911, getting 911 operators, dispatchers to actually stay, or to even recruit them, or recruit any that have any experience at all to come work for us. And so the sheriff has asked if we would consider doing an incentive package to bring them on and also work with those that are currently there to help them train the others through an incentive. Now remember, 911 is not funded by the general fund, it's completely funded by the tax on your cell phone, the surcharge. So this doesn't affect the general fund, but the sheriff would like to do a recruiting bonus of $5,000 with a commitment period for them to stay. We've ironed this out with the union, and the union has agreed to it in principle if the Board of Commissioners agrees to it.
And how long is the probation period?
1 year.
Okay.
And they have to complete that probationary period successfully. Anything you want to highlight?
I just want to, the hopes with pulling people with experience as 911 dispatchers, along with the $5,000 incentive, it also will save us money with having to pay for them to be EMD certified, which is about a little under $500. We also have to send them to a 40-hour beginning dispatch school, which I think that class is, it ranges between providers, but about $645. But then we also pay mileage and hotel and reimburse for food. So you're looking at probably another $1,000 to $1,200 savings there. Not to mention, if we get somebody with experience, the training process will be expedited. Essentially, we'll be able to get them on the floor faster, which will in turn save us in overtime as well.
So is the incentive for people who are experienced, who are currently working?
No, it's twofold. So you got incentive to bring people on, but then for those that are doing training, there's a training period where they get paid for training, but then that stops, and then they have another probably 6 to 8 months until they reach the end of their probationary period. This is to extend that kind of training and support so that they will help and support them through the entire probationary year.
To kind of help boost morale a little bit, get them excited about training again, because it's been such a long, tedious process. It's about, about 5 months to get somebody fully trained, and we'll get them right to the very end, and they make it through the training. I'm like, you did the hard part, and they're just like, well, turns out I don't like this isn't for me. So then we have to start all over again, and it's not a quick fix when we lose somebody like that. We have to start all over.
And so I noticed you do have postings, so you are hiring new people too.
Yes.
We've lost, how many in the last couple of months?
I don't know.
So we've lost several in the last couple of months, and there are moments where, you're sitting there and nothing is happening. But then when something actually happens, you have to multitask between the person on the phone, the emergency services divisions, whichever, or how many ever ones that you are working with. And so there is a lot of stress related to that job, and a lot of emotional,
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a tough job.
And the overtime, they're all at about 300 hours of overtime this year. All that.
Wow.
And you mandate overtime, correct?
We have to have 2 in the chair, so.
Yeah,
to
so
help
that's-
alleviate, I've also sat in, trying to help, so.
Okay. Yes.
I did have quite, I noticed the summary sheet says that the Teamsters has been open to this. Does the union, and I can see where it would be in their interest, but do they continue to be open, and if we pass this, are they going to go along? Is that what that means?
Yes.
They are in agreement.
They have, so I wrote this and put it on the board agenda and submitted it, and about an hour later, I got the final ratification that they agreed to it from the union.
So there's a letter of understanding.
Yeah. So they have agreed to the terms.
Any more questions or discussion? All in favor of moving this on to tomorrow night, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that brings us to our last call to the public. Is there anyone that would like to address public safety in courts? Hearing none, let's declare this meeting adjourned.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, call to the public. No public comment, which brings us to our first agenda item. I would entertain a motion to approve the MSU Extension Services for 2024 and authorize the board chairman to sign the agreement.
So moved.
I will support that. Joe Hammondtree, do you have anything?
No, I'm just here if there was any questions, and exciting news, we just hired our brand new 4-H person back in August, so he's actually at a club meeting tonight, so
Okay.
he couldn't attend, but we have Thomas, who's young and excited to be here, so.
Nice, okay. Anything else you wanna share, or?
We're just busy.
That's
We're-
good.
We're looking forward to holiday season off, but.
Alright,
Days
okay.
off, but.
Well, for those of you that don't know, I used to have a 4-H club, and the 4-H council, the club was at Pleasant Valley Trailer Park, and graciously sent all of those kids to 4-H camp. And the one thing they talked about was Joe Hammontree's cinnamon rolls. It was a highlight for many of them of that experience.
We
So
still partner with Marlene, if she has any kids that want to go to camp, we send them for free.
that is awesome. That is really, really cool. I had to make my kids go, but these kids love to go. All right, anything else for Joe on MSU Extension? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. That moves forward, and thanks for being here. I would entertain a motion to approve the contract between the Shiawassee County Health Department and ALZY Environmental Services LLC for registered sanitarian services in the amount of $40 per hour for an average of 24 hours per week for the period of January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Anything on that, Larry?
Just a contract renewal, it's a $2 increase over last year.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same, and that moves ahead. I would entertain a motion to approve the contract between the Shiawassee County Health Department and Dr. Dennis Chernin for medical director services in the amount of $40,500 for the period of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported.
This is a 3% increase for Dr. Chernin, and 2024 will be his 38th year with the Shiawassee County Health Department. So we're fortunate to still have his services, and I anticipate that it's going to be very expensive when we do in fact have to replace him someday. So
I thought one time he was going to leave a long time ago when I was here. Did he talk about it? Or not?
I
that
thought
would have been
that
before
too.
my time.
Oh.
Larry, I've heard you say that every year with his contract renewal.
Yeah,
I wonder how many more years you'll be saying it.
I don't know. It's,
Hopefully a few.
Hopefully.
because it's going to be pricey.
Anything else on Dr. Chernin? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Which brings us to item D.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
2 on that.
2. I would look for a motion to approve the replacement of not 1 but 2 registered environmental health sanitarians at grade 9.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported.
So we are losing 2 of our environmental sanitarians up on the 3rd floor. One is a 24-year employee that is expert in all of our programs. It's going to be very devastating for that institutional knowledge to be able to try to replace that. You just can't. And then the other one has about 2 years with us. Both of them are taking positions at the state of Michigan Eagle, formerly DEQ. it's a critical staffing issue up there. In the short term, our contract sanitarian is going to pick up some more hours. I will probably be helping out up there too, as needed, in terms of doing some field work and different things. But we have to. That's a very important office that we've got to keep functioning. So it's a big deal. So we're going to recruit right now. We anticipate that we will hire as soon as possible. There's a potential that they might be young and that we're going to have to train them. So it's kind of a key in this work environment, as Angie was talking about, is trying to retain employees and recruit employees is very difficult. So the wage scale implementation coming up is critical.
You got anybody in mind or not?
I don't, so
Oh,
we're just starting the process. We've got the jobs
okay.
posted. We're going to reach out on social media and do some things. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get some decent applicants. Because this job does require a bachelor's degree and certain credentialing. So it's not super easy to fill.
How many other sanitarians do we have that have sufficient experience to train?
Well, Casey, who's been with us for quite a few years, he's the director, and myself. The third sanitarian that we have up there has been with us for a year, and then our other sanitarian is a contract employee. So it's gonna be Casey and Larry trying to train any new ones.
So Larry, you said, it takes a bachelor's degree and then
You have to
certification?
get registered. You have to take an exam after 2 years of work experience, and you have to have 30 credit hours of science classes to qualify to sit for that test. So you get some work experience in, restaurant inspections, on-site water, on-site sewer, whatever other public health programs related to the environment that they do. So you get all that practicum, and then you have to take a 250 question exam.
That sounds horrible.
It is.
Yeah.
But
Do you have to have a special bachelor's degree or not?
no, but you have to have 30 credit hours of science and higher level math class
Oh,
to qualify to sit for the test.
Oh.
So we have to look at transcripts, and so these aren't easy positions to fill.
you can't get the science on working on the job that have had it before then.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Now we will entertain, maybe hiring an assistant sanitarian and training and helping them, if they're working towards a degree. So that might be something I have to look at. I have to look at all options right now.
Yeah, okay, I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, because we're in such a critical situation. So.
Well, if they don't work out, you can send them to dispatch.
We might be competing against this.
Right.
What is the starting salary roughly?
Oh, you're gonna get me on that one. It's around $24, $25 an hour, I think. Which I think that's gonna get elevated in the wage.
Okay.
Your time and the potential time in the field is gonna be constrained by your duties as department director.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
He can handle it.
Well, it keeps you fresh, right? Get back on
Yeah.
the field. All right, anything else for Larry? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Which brings us to our last agenda item. I would entertain a motion to approve the grant application between Shiawassee County Health Department and the Licensing and Regulatory Affairs for marijuana education and outreach in an amount not to exceed $24,892 and authorize the board chair to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
Sort.
Moved and supported. What is this all about?
So this is funds that come from LARA, State of Michigan LARA, which is the licensing agency that licenses all of the medical marijuana facilities. So the money comes from taxes on the purchase of the marijuana, whether it's the edibles or so on and so forth. But this is an education, a public education outreach campaign where we're trying to educate the public on safe use, meaning, okay, so you want to make sure it's safely stored. So we're going to purchase lock boxes, or we're going to have lock boxes that we can give to, that we do outreach events to people that may have it. They can lock it up so that their kids can't get into it, and also educate on, you just like with drinking, you need to be 21. You don't do marijuana and drive. So you'll see billboards, you will see some videos. I think we might do a video at the movie theater. And just kind of just general education and outreach campaign, and the period goes from January until September. And the amount of funding that we get, the $24,000, is based on the number of medical marijuana cards in our county. So it's a pretty obviously bustling, burgeoning industry, and so this is a public health campaign to make sure that things are done safely.
Do you have to hire more people to do this?
No,
Oh.
this I don't have to.
Oh, okay, I just thought I'd ask.
I have a question. You mentioned medical marijuana, so is this related just to the medical marijuana, not the recreational?
No, it's related to both, but the funding amount comes based on the medical marijuana users, the number of cards that are issued for Shiawassee County. That's where they do the baseline funding, because it might be a little bit harder for them to track everybody that's buying marijuana, because there's so many of these facilities, but it's based on the medical marijuana cards per county is where the funding comes from, but the education campaign is for both.
With it being free, I mean, getting it without a card, won't it be harder for people not to use a card anymore? Be less cards, or not necessarily?
I don't. Maybe that, in theory, yes,
Oh.
that could be, because since it's legal in the state,
Yeah.
But there are other things that come into play with that. If you have medical conditions, is a prescribed treatment in certain situations. So I don't think they're going to stop, quote unquote, prescribing it.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's a good question. It's a good point.
When the recreational proposal was passed, there was the argument there's going to be a lot of money from taxing what's going on. Is there like a similar fund or grants made out of that recreational monies to support things like this, the education?
Yeah, that's where this is coming from in terms of the money, the tax money.
But you said it's.
But it's based on the number of cards that are medically issued. So, the medical marijuana thing's been around for a number of years before, and so that they had a baseline to set that funding, and that's what set the baseline. So they're not.
But wait a minute, that's still the baseline, even though there are
Correct.
presumably many more people
Yep.
recreationally doing it that we want to educate.
And there could be more money coming down the road from that if the taxing base
That
increases.
hasn't been set up.
That hasn't been set up. It could get similar to opioids, in that kind of funding that's coming in.
So you said lock boxes. Didn't you do something with lock boxes?
Yeah, we've
before?
had this before with the lock boxes. So it's a continuation of that, but now we're bringing in grant funding in addition to keep it going.
Was it for marijuana or was it?
Yeah, it was for marijuana, and I'm trying to think what else. We've had them for a while.
Do you think people use them, really?
I would hope so, because you get the lock box, you get a lock. I would say that some people try to do the right thing, and maybe if they're not even getting it for free, they would try to do the right thing anyway. Try to keep it locked and out of reach, of their kids.
I don't know. I don't really. I kind of have my doubts, honestly,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
That people will do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but-
I doubt the people that are going to use it are likely to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's
I
got to at
mean-
least try.
Right, and I guess I don't have a better idea, but I feel like 24,000 to tell people to not drive high or to not let your kids have your marijuana. That seems, I don't know, just doesn't seem like the best use of the money, but.
You gotta start someplace.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, anybody else got anything to say on marijuana?
Dude,
It's not what I was looking for, but okay. All right, I guess all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. That carries forward. Thank you, Larry. Which brings us to the end of our agenda. Second call to the public. Looks like I have Tom.
Those lock boxes were for Suboxone.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
My
I knew there was
law,
something.
they had it locked up when they went and picked it up from the clinic. So the lock boxes were, they were for Suboxone.
What in the world?
I believe that's right.
Okay. Couple things. Since you were talking about marijuana, Discount Buds is closed. So you're not gonna be getting any more tax money from Discount Buds. They closed up today, sign on their door. This money that we're gonna get, my question is for the education. Is it to educate people, like when people who are connoisseurs of beer, what a lager is, what, what each is? Are you going to, is it going to be like that, where you're going to tell people that if you smoke this one, this is what this one does to you, this one does, because otherwise I think this is a total waste of money. What a bunch of nonsense. We want people, we're out wanting people to smoke now to bring tax money in, but now we want to take that tax money and we want to spend it to somebody else that says, don't smoke. It's absolutely ludicrous to me that 24,000 isn't used. Well, actually, it's ludicrous that we're spending money that we don't have. 24,000, yeah, it could have been used for something else. Real big thing here. I just found this out. This is very important for all of you to know. This county pays the second lowest for prosecutors in the state of Michigan. You know what you get for quality when you pay nothing? You got problems over there. Lots of problems. Prosecutors that are showing up, not ready. Prosecutors that are showing up that are just dismissing cases because they're not ready. We don't pay anything. So I think it's something that's very important. If we were in the middle, but we're second to the lowest in the state of Michigan. They laugh at us. Any attorney coming out laughs. Why would they come here? So what do we get? So what's it cost to do a trial? 15 to 20, I've been told, advised, 15 to 20,000 to do a trial. And the trials that they're doing now are only ones that they can win, like they have 5 magnet cops that follow a kid on a bicycle because he might have some meth on him and he's homeless. And we pick him up, but we don't pick up the person who sold it to him because that's a little bit more work. So some of these trials, 5 officers following a kid on a bicycle that's homeless. And he's not selling. He's just nabbed. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else?
I just have a question for Larry, actually. Do the sanitarians teach your safe classes?
They do.
Do they? So Monday we have a new food safety specialist starting who will be certified to teach safe classes. So if that helps you guys take some of that off your plate. She covers 5 counties, but hopefully it'll help your already stretched staff.
Sure.
I appreciate it.
That's,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be addressing you.
Sorry.
Public service announcement, I guess.
For afterwards.
All right, well, Joe, Larry, if you guys can work something out, thank you, that would be nice. Anybody else? I would adjourn the meeting, thank you.